So, depending on our consciousness level, we assign a particular type of body.
Be careful by getting.
So according to the body we get a certain types of senses. Like for example, eagle, you can see from very high up. We have that kind of desire. But what is the eagle looking for? Snakes or dead bodies?
Yeah.
It's not looking for Krishna. So good vision is nice, but you should be looking where is Krishna. Similarly, and like dogs, they can hear. They got very sharp hearing. We should be eager to hear about Krishna. But unfortunately, because we chosen not to hear about Krishna, so we are a dog's body. We hear other sounds. If you're a lucky dog, you are a Krishna dog, then you might hear Krishna. There was one farm. In our farm, we had one dog. His name was Hare Rama. And every day in the morning, people would go for chanting Japa Hare Rama. And he'll hear his name being chanted, wag his tail. Everyone calling my name. So the devotee named him Hare Rama. Easy for him. Call him also, and he felt very much that we are all calling his name. He felt so good. That's the nature of false ego. If people call our name, we feel very important. So particular type of body, particular type of senses we get to satisfy our material desires. However, if you use those senses, Rishikesh Sevanam, Bhakti Shastri, it becomes devotional service. So I think last time we did up to 9 or 10?
10.
Yeah, okay. We'll revise 10 and go to 11. How do you see such a thing? Text number 10. Do you want to read text number 10?
Did you say me?
Huh?
I didn't hear what you said.
Number 10.
Utkramanam stitham vapi Punjanam va gunavitam Vimudhananupashyanti Pashyanti jnana chakshusha. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of material nature. But one whose eyes are trained in the knowledge can see all of this.
So we have two options. Go back to spiritual world or transmigrate in the material world. So what's the qualification to see all that? The eyes of knowledge. Just 1 second. Hello? Hi, good, thanks. Yeah. Wait. Yeah, we already moved out, so I just have to express a little bit of feeling and that's it. So, yeah, that belongs to the owner. Everything in the house belongs to the owner. It's not ours, except those few cardboard boxes that we do. The owner asked us not to disclose, so I don't know if you want to discuss with them. Sorry about that, yeah. So, the knowledge, with the eyes of knowledge, one can see how this transmigration is happening. Otherwise, if we don't have the eyes of knowledge, then we don't know what's happening. Like animals, for example, they don't have the eyes of knowledge. They don't realize, oh, I'm going from one body to another. I could go back to spiritual world. I belong to Krishna. Material world is a place of suffering. These things animals cannot understand. Human being is able to understand this. So when Sanatana Goswami met Lord Chaitanya, what question did he ask first time when he met him? Remember?
Who am I? Why
Yes.
am I suffering?
Who am I and why am I suffering? People said, I'm big Pandit, I know Sanskrit, I know Persian, I know so many languages, Urdu, and people think I'm a great scholar, but actually I don't even know who I am. and he offered obeisance to Lord Chaitanya with a straw in his mouth. Isn't it? Straw in mouth means animal. So he came before Lord Chaitanya saying that I don't know anything. And that is the proper mood of how to approach a spiritual master. In front of Guru, we should not come out like I'm very smart, look at me. Rather, we should present ourselves like a fool. This is the proper etiquette. So Sanatana Goswami is showing that. And he is asking, please give me the eyes of knowledge. So what is being referred here as eyes of knowledge to see what's actually going on here. I'm in the material world and I'm suffering. And I have a chance to get out. The human life especially is a good chance to get out. Let me utilize this opportunity to my full extent, to with greatest sincerity. With greatest sincerity, I should put my heart and soul into this Krishna consciousness. Yesterday I had a devotee from Perth rang me. The poor thing is searching for a job for almost a year. I think he's migrated newly, not getting a job anywhere. He's saying all my mind is so disturbed, I can't do anything properly. I said, I know it's hard, but don't focus on that. You focus on making his Krishna consciousness strong. And by keep trying for a job anyway. Eventually when Krishna wants, the job will come. Or I said, I'm a project manager, no jobs here. I said, you project manage for Krishna. We have so many projects. Plenty of jobs here. Don't say there's no job. May not be to your liking. May not be the remuneration you're expecting. But at least you have a job. We're building so many projects. So there's no shortage of work. But if you think, let me get my job in the material world first, then I'll look at the spiritual world, maybe too late. Who knows? Or maybe waste of time at least. So better we try to make the most of our Krishna consciousness. Then the material situation will never be perfect. Even if you have the best job, best family, best house, everything, something else will be wrong. Health will not be good, or neighbors may not be good to you, or whatever it is. The neighbor's dog may be barking all night, you can't sleep. Anything can disturb us, isn't it? It's not doesn't take much to disturb us. By nature we are disturbed. Bhagavatam says, Kali Yuga, people are always hipadrita, always disturbed. Prayana alpaish sabhya kalasmin yuge jana manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya hipadrita. We are unlucky, unfortunate, lazy, misguided. This is our qualification. So, hipadrita, always disturbed. Something will always disturb us. And each time Maya makes us think, you sort out this problem, then you'll be alright. Just that one thing is bothering me. If I can fix that, I'll be okay. But it's never okay. So, Jnana Chakshu, the eye of knowledge, we have to acquire that eye of knowledge to see what's actually going on here. If we don't, we are no better than animals. See, here Krishna is describing how the subtle body is going from one gross body to another, along with the spirit soul. And as a result of that, one is suffering repeated birth and death. Therefore, Prabhupada says the purport, therefore, those who are highly developed in Krishna consciousness try their best to give the knowledge to people in general, for their conditional life is very much troublesome. So when devotees in Krishna consciousness, his or own welfare is not anymore in doubt. Our future is secure. But now devotees see the material world is a place of great suffering. I should try and give Krishna consciousness to everyone. I should try and give Krishna consciousness to all the suffering people. If I can do that, then that will make the Lord happy and my own spiritual life will be very happy. Mukund, come here. Where are you going? Come. You are welcome here. They should come out of it and be Krishna conscious and liberate themselves to transfer to the spiritual world. So that they can transfer themselves to the spiritual world. Because the material world is so much suffering. It's not our real home. So devotee is interested to give that knowledge to everyone. The Jnana Chakshu. So people can realize what a precarious position we are placed in. Prabhupada gives example of the goats lined up to be slaughtered. The goat at the back is being fed grass and he is thinking, oh, life is so good, master is nice to me, he is feeding me nice, freshly cut grass. This is life, weather is perfect, everything is nice. He doesn't realize he is in the queue. A moment later, his head will be chopped off. He'll have a horrible death. So then, we feel, oh, that animal is stupid. But actually the example is us. We are the animal there. The example is not someone else, it's me. So this is a Gyan Chak should realize what's actually going on. In Los Angeles in the garden, I was talking to some scholars. He said only a madman can say there's no God. How can you say there's no God? Just as there is death, there is also God. Sure as death. Death is certain, it's coming. We can't hide under the sand and say it's not going to happen to me. It's surely going to happen. We are in such a dangerous position, but we don't realize that. We are thinking it's all nice, it'll be better tomorrow. That's the power of illusion. It makes us think that we are alright. So Krishna is saying that one who has got an eye of knowledge, they can see what's going on. Okay. So next level, text 11 will read Prasanta Prabhu.
Did we read the purport or we done it last time?
I think we did that last time, no? Did we?
Yes.
Or not? I think we did.
Yes.
That's why I'm going to the next one. Text 11.
Yatanto yoginaschainam
Yatanto yoginaschainam
Pashyanti atmani avishnitam
Pashyanthatmanyavasitam
Yatanto atmano
Yatanto yatatmano
Nainam pashyanti chetasha
Nainam pashyanti chetasah.
The endeavoring transcendentalist who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those whose mind are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try.
They will try to.
Try to, yeah. Shivali Prabhu, get the purport.
There are many transcendentalists on the path of spiritual self-realization. But one who is not situated in self-realization cannot see how things are changing in the body of the living entity. The word yogina is significant in this connection. In the present day, there are many so-called yogis, and there are many so-called associations of yogis, but they are actually blind in the matter of self-realization. They are simply addicted to some sort of gymnastic exercise and are satisfied if the body is well built and healthy. They have no other information. They are called yatanto api akrita manaha. Even though they are endeavoring in a so-called yoga system, they are not self-realized. Such people cannot understand the process of the transmigration of the soul. Only those who are actually in the yoga system and have realized the self, the world and the Supreme Lord, in other words, the Bhakti yogis, those engaged in pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness, can understand how things are taking place.
So what is the main point of this verse?
Main point, Prabhu, is basically what Prabhupada is saying, that only those who are in Krishna consciousness understand they are self-realized. All the others are not self-realized.
See, bold statement. You'll think that, we're being too fanatic here. So what's the justification of that? What's the understanding there? Do you believe that's true?
Absolutely. If people don't understand that the Supreme Lord is Krishna, then they are nowhere.
True. Very good answer. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Krishna nahi mane, daitya kori jane. Very strong words. You don't accept Krishna as Supreme, you are a demon. Short and sharp. Now when people hear first time, they may not understand this and think, oh, you are being too judgmental or very narrow-minded. But that's the truth. That's the reality. Mataji had a hand up.
Yes, Brahma. And also only Krishna conscious movement is the one which says boldly that you are not the body or the soul.
Yeah.
And then how to apply it in your day-to-day life. Whereas other systems are just maybe the yoga exercises as mentioned here.
Yeah.
They are giving more importance to the body. Though they may say it's you're not the body or the soul, but they are not having the practical application.
Yes. Very good. Thank you.
Same thing, like I've heard so many lectures from different people, like they all talk about they talk about Krishna and other things and other gods, but no one says that about this we are not the body and we are the soul, and that is the main point.
Yeah.
I think that makes you realize that
Correct.
one day we have to leave this body, that it's not permanent.
There's so many schools of thought, I mean not schools of thought really, so many spiritual organizations which do recognize the soul. They do talk about...
But they may not give you the practical application. They may say it, but they are not giving you any advice on how to apply it in your life day to day.
They do that as well, I think, by process of meditation, but it's all more geared towards Brahmajyoti.
Yeah.
That's where
right.
the difference is.
See,
Knowledge is not perfect.
See now, if I ask you the question in the 15th
Partial
chapter,
knowledge.
yeah, partial realization, correct. If I ask you the question, who are you? Now, given the different layers of answers you get, start from the bottom. I'm a woman. Right? My name is such and such. He is my husband. These are my children. That will be one level of giving the answer. Right? That is the lowest level of ignorance. Of one who doesn't have transcendental knowledge, realization. That is material. Animal also says, I'm dog, I'm cat. Now one step above that, what is the next level of realization? Spiritual realization. What is the first level?
Human being.
Human being we already said. Yeah,
I'm
human
not
being is
this body.
human being. That's correct.
I'm not the body.
I'm not his body.
I'm not a body. Because as long as you think I'm human being, I'm man, I'm woman, I'm husband, I'm father, I'm sister, I'm mother, we are in a bodily concept only. Even if you say Hindu, we are in a bodily concept. What to speak of a man and woman. Right? So that cuts off 99% of the population. They're in that category. Now 1% maybe, as you're saying, they may have to realize they're not the body. True. What you're saying is true. Aham Brahmasmi. I'm spiritual. I'm spirit. I'm not this body. I'm not Indian. I'm not African. I'm not human being. That's only the body. I, the real I, is living in the body. That is called Atma Gyan. I am not the body. I am the spirit soul. I am Brahmasmi. That's the next level of realization. So you find some percentage of people on that level where they understand that. True. But is that the ultimate understanding? Is that the highest? Is there anything higher than that?
Servant of the Lord.
That is jumping. But Mamai Amsha Jiv Loke Jiv Bhut Sanatana. That's the one above that.
I'm a spirit.
Ananda best.
I'm spirit soul. I'm not a body. I'm spirit soul. You're getting higher now.
I'm part and parcel of
I'm
Ananda.
highest.
I am part and parcel of Krishna. Mamai Amsha Jiv Loke Jiv Bhut Sanatana.
Sanatana.
This chapter you read. Then next.
Ananda best.
Anandmaya Bhasat. I'm pleasure seeking by nature. Yes. But
Then
then
still on the same level.
still, yeah, I'm still
I
there.
am
I am a servant of Krishna. That is not many people realize. Now you're getting to a very small area now. They may say I'm doing yoga, meditation, but still they're thinking I'm doing yoga so I can enjoy the senses. Majority yoga clubs, why do they do yoga? It's not because of spirit soul, but because they want to enjoy material life.
Yeah.
They want to prolong their youth so they can enjoy more.
The body fit.
With the body, keep the body fit.
You want to look young always.
So if you are saying I'm not a body in a meditation, but objective is to enjoy the body, then where is the application of that knowledge? Even if one has a little knowledge, where are they applying it? Right? That's what Mataji said, right? In the application they are not there. Because the objective is still to enjoy the body. I'm not a body, but I want to enjoy it anyway. That is Maya what they say, Brahman Satya Jagan Mithya. They say material world is false. But Prabhupada says they're very expert in enjoying the material world. You're declaring it false, but still you want it. That realization is not there. I mean, look at our own case. I thought I was a biased Hindu before I became a devotee. Now I'm understanding what Hinduism is supposed to really mean. Hinduism is supposed to, I was a Brahmin, I was told, you are born Brahmin family. Do you know that? You should not behave like this. Yeah, it's nice to know that you are in Brahmin family, but what does a Brahmana know? Brahma Janatiti Brahmana. You should understand what is Brahman, spiritual. So that is, understanding theoretically is one thing, but living it is another thing.
Yeah.
There's a big gap between precept and practice. even if one has the understanding. And to understand that we are part and parcel of Krishna, understanding Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, three aspects of absolute truth. Actually, you are getting into minority zone now. I don't think many will understand, even have your own concept of what this is. Or even if they have some concept, they'll think Krishna is a temporary form, Brahmajyoti is the origin of Krishna coming from Brahmajyoti. They don't see the other way around. 14th chapter Krishna says, Brahmanoi Pratishtha. Big confusion. Majority of Indians will fall in that category. Practically everyone is a Mayavadi, practically. So it is very rare. So what Srimani Prabhupada is correct. What Prabhupada said is correct. You are repeating. Don't take too much credit. But you get credit for repeating the right statement. None of us can take credit. Don't worry. Not you and me.
Be happy for a moment.
Huh?
Be happy for a moment.
But we should always remember that, yeah, you got the right understanding, but we always have to give back to Prabhupada. If it wasn't for Prabhupada, if Prabhupada Prabhupada not there, we wouldn't have to understand this. This is so complicated, isn't it? It's very difficult. Even among the Vaishnavas, they have an understanding at the most of Vaikuntha. Golok Vrindavan, very difficult. I have gone to Madhva Sampradaya, I can tell you. No one mentioned Golok Vrindavan to me in my first 25 years of my life. Never. Vaikuntha, yes, many times a year. When rascal is born, big smuggler, he dies, they'll put one note, no, Vaikuntha Vas ho gaya unka. That guy is a complete demon. There's no chance of going to Vaikuntha. At least from my calculation anyway. He did all black market and all bungling and lying and cheating and corruption. And they said, oh, Swarga Vas ho gaya, I gone to Swarga. Very good Swarga.
It's one of the ceremonies after death also.
Yeah. So we have such little understanding of what's actually going on there.
India with right, Swargi, Sri is also.
Yeah. I thought that was the ultimate, like,
Yeah, going to Swarga, if you're a little bit Vaishnava family, you'll talk of Vaikuntha. In Vaishnava families, they used to talk of Vaikuntha. Little better. But still no understanding, full understanding, Golok Vrindavan, Krishna's pastime, and that to come into Radha and Krishna, oh, that's very advanced. That understanding is not there. All acharyas up to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they taught Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, liberation, Moksha, that is the highest. Beyond that, there is no understanding Golok Vrindavan, Krishna. That's not understanding. Even if they look at it, they say, nice entertainment. Achha, thoda masti karke gaya. They don't understand the depth of the pastimes, or relationships of Krishna, rasas, Shanta rasa, Dasya rasa, Sakya rasa, Vatsalya, Madhurya. I have not tried. Very limited. So this, so the understanding of Krishna and Vaikuntha, Lord Narayan, that's the maximum you get outside of ISKCON. Beyond that, you will not find. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers revealed Vrindavan to us. Prema Pumarto Mahan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave Prema as the Pancham Purushartha. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha was given by our acharyas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Prema, Krishna Prema, as the fifth perfection. Pumarto means the perfections. Prem Pumarto Mahan says of all the five perfections, Prema is the highest, Krishna Prema. And that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's why we worship him. Namo Mahavadanyaya. Krishna Prema Pradaya. So we're not saying this out of pride, it's actually true. So all of them are pretty much in the bodily concept of life. Some of them realize they are Brahman, spirit, soul. But very few understand that in the whole of Krishna. 7th chapter, 3rd verse, Krishna says, what does it say? Manushanam?
Frustration.
Translation, please.
What's the starting provocation?
Out of
Out of 1,000 people, one will understand me in full, and among such, one will.
Not one.
Some.
Shivani, take two.
Manushanam Sahasreshu.
1,000 among 1,000 men, some will
Out of
understand.
thousands of men, one may understand me, one may come to me.
Take three now. Take three.
One may
You're not forgetting
Thousands
this.
of men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me.
So there is a stage there, right? You are coming to the last stage. So out of thousands of people endeavoring perfection. So that out of thousands of men, one is endeavoring perfection. And out of thousands of enduring perfection, hardly one knows being truth. And Prabhupada says in Kali Yuga you can make 1,000 into lakh. Out of lakhs of people, only one is endeavoring for perfection. Out of lakhs of people enduring perfection, hardly one knows being truth. So this is Krishna himself saying it, right? He's saying both durlabh hai, very rare. So it's not a surprise.
Prabhu, when we know few people who are doing the spirituality and all these things, but when they say you're doing too much of Krishna, you have gone too far, and they say they have the right balance because they do like all these things for yoga and all these things, but they say you have gone too far now. You're doing too much.
Too much. Say goodbye to Maya. It's not something that you can be half there. Like Devata Maharaj says, if you ask a lady, are you pregnant or not? I'm half pregnant. There's no such thing, either you are or you're not. There's no such thing as half. You are Krishna conscious, you are Krishna conscious, or you're not. There's nothing like I'm halfway there, I'm going to pull out halfway. You either are or you're not. So we are in it hopefully, and we'll hopefully stay in it.
Part-time Krishna conscious.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't make any sense. You are or you're not. And by just staying on the border like that, trying to think I'll choose the best of both, well, we don't have that discrimination. That's why Prabhupada says that only those engaged in pure devotion service in Krishna consciousness can understand how things are taking place. So only a devotee can understand how things are taking place. Nobody else can understand. This is a very bold and a very factual statement. And coming from Srila Prabhupada, why? Because Srila Prabhupada is free from envy. He is free from envy. And he is a genuine well-wisher. A genuine well-wisher. He won't cheat us. He won't lie to us. He won't tell us something that's not good. Neither is he a conditioned soul who can make mistakes and present something with limited understanding. He is a self-realized soul. And he is saying that only Krishna conscious person can understand how things are taking place. Because otherwise there will be some gap in the knowledge. Either a misunderstanding or a gap in the knowledge. Complete understanding will not be there. 7th chapter Krishna already told us, 7th chapter 1st verse. What did Krishna say?
Maya satmanapatra yogam janmadashraya asamshayam samadkarmam yathatnyasut tachana.
Thank you, very nice, beautiful. Does Arvind know 7th chapter? It's a family of chapters. You are chapter 12, you call your son chapter 12, you are chapter 15. I give a medal, every chapter they learn, put a medal. That's good, perfect, you said it nice. What's the translation of 7.1? What's got it?
Now hear, O soul of Buddha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you know me in full, free from doubt.
Know me in full. For Krishna to say that someone can know him in full is a lot. This is Krishna certificate. Practicing yoga in full consciousness of me. That is Krishna consciousness. And understand how things are taking place. How transmigration is happening. So if one is Krishna conscious, it is not difficult to see what's happening to the soul carrying on the material world, cycling the material world, and a soul who can leave the material world. He can see both. Whereas one is in the material consciousness, they don't have the eyes to see what's actually happening to them. What to speak of knowing how to go to spiritual world? They won't know about that. But this Krishna consciousness is so amazing. I remember the Melbourne Temple President Anirudh Prabhu was telling that we asked him once, how did you come to Krishna consciousness? He said, I was introduced to Krishna consciousness by a bunch of druggies. Drug addicted hippies. They told him, you go to the Hare Krishna temple, it will be good for you. And they told him you should go to Mangalarti, it's actually good for you. Even better for you. So he took the advice very seriously, even though they were into drugs and everything. He took the advice seriously and see how he becomes such a great devotee. I mean, to take advice from a person who is in drugs, who is not practicing himself. That is the potency of this message. Even if a person in that condition is giving out a message, it's so potent that one is able to change their life completely. Completely opposite.
And he's passing the message as is.
Yeah, he gave the message. Even though he didn't know what he was doing, he was not himself interested. He didn't himself believe in that. If it was so good, he should be doing it first. But he never said, no, it's actually good for you. And he took the advice very seriously. And then he said, my wife came after that. She was refusing. She said that she wouldn't chant. He asked her, do you have a tongue? Yes. Then chant. That was a short instruction. You have a tongue, you can talk, you can chant. Not chanting. That's it. Once start chanting, then I don't give up. So it's just amazing that any little bit of Krishna consciousness you take up, it's so potent, so powerful, and even without knowing one gets benefited. What to speak of someone who's understanding and practicing it nicely? How much more they'll get benefited with that. Okay, so this is the potency of Krishna consciousness. That one can see things as they are, as it is. Okay, next verse. Down to 12, right?
Yes.
Central to
Yeah. Sorry. Yat aditya katam tejo jagat pashayate akilam yat chantramasi yachakano tattejo vidhi mamakam. The translation: the splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me.
purport was not right. Shivan, was you already purport?
Yes, no. The unintelligent cannot understand how things are taking place, but one can begin to be established in knowledge by understanding what the Lord explains here. Everyone sees the sun, moon, fire and electricity. One should simply try to understand that the splendor of the sun, the splendor of the moon and the splendor of electricity or fire are coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In such a conception of life, the beginning of Krishna consciousness, lies a great deal of advancement for the conditioned soul in this material world. The living entities are essentially the parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, and he is giving herewith the hint how they can come back to Godhead, back to home. From this verse we can understand that the sun is illuminating the whole solar system. There are different universes and solar systems, and there are different suns, moons and planets also. But in each universe there is only one sun. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 10.21, the moon is one of the stars. Nakshatranam aham shasi. Sunlight is due to the spiritual effulgence in the spiritual sky of the Supreme Lord. With the rise of the sun, the activities of human beings are set up. They set fire to prepare their foodstuff, they set fire to start the factories, etc. So many things are done with the help of fire. Therefore, sunrise, fire and moonlight are so pleasing to the living entities. Without their help, no living entity can live. So if one can understand that the light and splendor of the sun, moon and fire are emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, then one's Krishna consciousness can begin. By the moonshine, all the vegetables are nourished. The moonshine is so pleasing that people can easily understand that they are living by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Without his mercy, there cannot be sun. Without his mercy, there cannot be moon. And without his mercy, there cannot be fire. And without the help of the sun, moon and fire, no one can live. These are some thoughts to provoke Krishna consciousness in the conditioned soul.
What's the main point here?
Prabhu, I think it's to help us realize through the the elements that we see around us, right from starting from all the universes, and each of the universes has a sun, and how the sun's light is penetrating almost all the food, all the activities, everything, all the energy that we get. It all comes from the sun, and then Prabhupada talks about how the moon and all the heavenly bodies around us, how they are actually, sustaining sustaining us. And but who is behind this light? It is the Lord. So, and the last line, which says that without His mercy there cannot be sun, without His mercy there cannot be moon, and without His mercy there cannot be fire, and without the help of sun, moon, and fire no one can live. So that kind of sounds.
We are completely dependent on the Lord in all aspects of our life. Now, in the 10th chapter, Prabhupada references. That's a good summary. Thank you. 10th chapter, 21st verse. The moon is one of the stars. That is controversial with modern science, isn't it? What is the modern scientific view?
The moon gets
Natural
like
satellite. It's a satellite. Yeah, it's a natural satellite.
The satellite that
it gets its sun. It gets its light from the sun. Whatever it is, reflections.
What is the Vedic understanding?
Moon gets light from Brahma Jyoti only.
From the sun comes from the sun gets the light from Brahma Jyoti. But the point here is that there are many stars, it says. Yes, that's true.
Moon is the
But
biggest.
moon is also a big star. But modern science says the sun is a star also. No? Sun, yeah, they can see, yes, that's right. Definition of a star is anything that emanates its own light is a star. So stars, so in that sense, sun is a big star or a closest star, isn't it? Because it has its own light. That's true. But they think the stars have got their own light. That is not true.
They say that the stars have got their own
Scientists are saying the stars have got their own light.
light. Yeah, just like the sun has its own light.
Just like sun. So that they're saying the sun is another kind of star.
And also the distance to the earth as well. Moon is so close to the earth, and the stars are so far away.
Much further away. That is true. That's a fact. Stars are much further away. That Vedic science agrees. But Vedic science says just like the moon, the stars also don't have their own light. But you see, the moon is not just a light. It actually gives the sun, it takes sunlight and gives us back cooling light. Now you can't use heat to make cool. Of course, refrigerator works on that principle. Electricity is used to cool, like air conditioning, to cool the place, cooling the place. But the source of heating and cooling is the electricity.
So how does the eclipse happen? When Earth comes in between the sun and the moon actually goes dark. So the eclipse is, if it had its own light, then why would the eclipse not happen?
No, that's because of Rahu and Ketu coming in the way. The Vedic understanding is different. Yeah, that's because it's not because the reflection of not the shadow of the sun or the earth. The scientists believe that it's the shadow of the earth that's coming on the sun or the moon. It's not the shadow of the earth. It's actually another planet, Rahu. See, Rahu and Ketu have not been found by the scientists. So they don't have, or maybe Ketu is found. Ketu is Pluto, is it? I don't know, but they don't understand how this interaction works. So the Vedic understanding of eclipse is that it is these planets coming in the way. Whereas modern science, they think that the earth is the shadow, it's casting a shadow on these objects. So there are quite a few differences between modern science and... See, now latest they have found out there's life on Mars. Because they say they found water on Mars, so there must be life. That's another assumption. They think without water and oxygen, life cannot be there. That's not true. Life can exist without oxygen, without water.
Prabhu, they themselves don't know, they're making controversial statement because they say without oxygen and water the life cannot exist, but when they actually go deeper into the sea where there is almost no amount of oxygen into the water, where the gases are coming out of the seabed, that's where they have actually found the creatures which are living on those gases. So they are contradictory their own statement.
They can't explain how that's happening. So there's so many more species. See, Vedic science is very specific. They say 8.4 million species. Have scientists found 8.4 million species? I don't think so. They're not documented even close to that. So there are so many species they don't have any information about.
But as Mataji also said, it's very hard to, when we have learned all that in the school and about, like 6 billion people around you believe in the same science and you believe in it's a big jump to conquer.
It is, but like you said, they are constantly changing their opinion. So their knowledge can't be perfect because they are constantly revising their opinion. Whatever they know, that is not perfect.
And as you mentioned it in the past, like the mountains had a ring in the past. So if we start telling all these things to the outside world, they will probably look us different.
Yeah, that's true. Because they are so conditioned to thinking their own way. And only when you get the eye of knowledge, Shastra Chakshu, Jnana Chakshu, then one can see the reality. Otherwise one is going to miss the point. If you can't see the spirit soul in the body, then you're not seeing, only looking at the body. Our vision is faulty because they're relying on the senses. That's why Pratyaksha is not a good way of acquiring knowledge. Better than Pratyaksha is Anumana. Better than Anumana is Shabda Praman is the best. Because that's the only thing that can cut through this ignorance. Otherwise one remains in ignorance. If you're limited by senses, you put a pencil in water, it appears bent. That's what eyes are telling you.
Prabhu, as we are reading, we have 7 planets above and 7 below. Where are these other 9 planets, what we study? Where do they fall? Like Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Because Earth is also one of the planets.
Yeah. See, those are 14 divisions. That's a different classification. These are different planets. 14 divisions are mentioned. Like Swarga, for example, not one planet, it's one division. Indraloka is Swarga, is just one division of planets. It's not just set of planets, not one. So what the scientists have discovered is only 8 or 9 planets, but that's only limited knowledge of the planets. That's another classification. Navagraha, that's another classification. 9 planets.
That are on the same level like Earth?
They are called earthly planets, not earth planets. It's earthly planet.
But are they in the same division? All these 9 planets?
That belongs to our universe, isn't it? This universe.
They are in this universe only, but they are in a different classification. These 14 planets you're talking about is another classification. They are in the stem of the lotus, the navel of Lord Vishnu. The topmost planet is Brahmaloka. But that is one classification. Right up to Patala to Brahmaloka is 14 divisions, that is planetary divisions. That's another classification. Is Navagrahas another classification. See, you don't think in this universe there are only 14 planets. That's not true. No. So there are many planets are there and they are classified in different ways. The 2 most popular ones, there are also Sapta Rishis are there, 7 Rishis are there. So there are so many objects, so many personalities here, and each one is a personality. Bhudevi is a lady, the woman. She is a Devi. It's not just dirt floating in the sky. So there are different classifications. Accordingly, you have different planetary systems.
Who the Saptarishi, what we see, are the same Saptarishis or?
Yeah, same Saptarishis. So Rishis, Marutas are another classification. Rudras, 11 Rudras, another classification. So each one has their own personality, individuality, they have their own planets. And there are different levels of the cosmos. And they have their own travel path also. Just like airlines have a flight path, they also have a flight path. Lord Shiva has his own travel path, Brahma has his own travel path. But they don't collide with each other. The Saptarishis have their own travel path. There are 49 kinds of fires, Agnis. So many different types of Marut, winds. So many personalities.
I think the other part is scientists haven't found any terrestrial winds yet, but the Bhagavatam and the Shastras also mentioned that there are a few terrestrial winds.
Yeah, that was, you can come this side. There's a lot of space here. All the space is there. Yeah, that's true. winds are there, so many things which we try to understand that is going to be mind-boggling.
Just try to understand Golokanta. That is best.
I think that's simple. There, we don't need to know this. That's true.
So there are 14 planetary systems. Are all the 8 or 9 planets that we know of in one system?
I'm not sure whether they overlap, where they overlap, I don't know. It's a different classification, that much I know. Which overlaps, how many of them are in the first level, how many in the second level, but mostly they are all associated with the Earth. They're in this, even the scientists say it's in our Milky Way, so to speak. So I would presume they're all in the earthly level, they're not on the next level up. So it is a different system. And I'm not too familiar with that area, that's a highly specialized area. So I have to talk to some devotees who are expert in that area. But all I know is that the different classifications, different sets of planets. So the transmigration of one planet to the other is all depending on your karma. You can either go down or up. Urdhva gachanti sattvastha.
Madhyam tishthanti rajasa.
Madhyam tishthanti rajasa. That's the mode of passion. Adho gachanti tamasa. So the mode of darkness, they go down. So depending on modes we are in, we fit into one of the planetary systems.
Just about the sun.
Yeah.
When His Holiness Bhakti Shastri Maharaj was in Sydney recently, he talked about it very briefly in one of his lectures, and he said that the moon is actually a sun-like planet, but it's covered in a thick layer of ice around it, which is why they both emit light, the sun and the moon, but the sun's light has a heating effect, whereas the moon has a cooling effect. But they're both suns, it's just that one's covered in ice. And as for where the scientists or astronauts went in the 1960s, he says that they actually went to Rahu, not the moon.
Okay. Then we did leave the Earth at least. Yeah, so there you go.
And even then, what they saw is just rocks and things, because they don't have the qualification to see it. So even if they actually went to the moon or Rahu, whatever it was, because they don't have the punya, the good karma, when they go there, they won't be able to see anything. It'll just look like a piece of dead rocks.
That's it. Yeah, it's true. Thank you. And the same thing is fire also. The fire also we depend on. Prepare food stuff, start the factories. So we are dependent on the Lord in all cases. Sun, moon or fire. But in the spiritual world there is no sun, moon or fire. There is no need. The Brahmajyoti is there. Okay, go to the next verse. Next, Shanti Bhakti only.
Gam Arishya Cha Bhutani Dharayami Aham Yojasa Pushnami Chaushadihi Sarvaha Somo Bhutva Rasatmakaha I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. It is understood that all the planets are floating in the air only by the energy of the Lord. The Lord enters into each atom, every planet and every living being. That is discussed in the Brahma Samhita. It is said that one plenary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma enters into the planets, the universe, the living entity, and even into the atom. So, due to his entrance, everything is appropriately manifested. When the spirit soul is there, a living man can float on the water, but when the living spark is out of the body and the body is dead, the body sinks. Of course, when it is decomposed, it floats just like straw and other things. But as soon as the man is dead, he at once sinks in the water. Similarly, all these planets are floating in space, and this is due to the entrance of the supreme energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His energy is sustaining each planet just like a handful of dust. If someone holds a handful of dust, there is no possibility of the dust falling, but if one throws it in the air, it will fall down. Similarly, these planets which are floating in the air are actually held in the fist of the universal form of the Supreme Lord. By his energy and by his strength and energy, all moving and non-moving things stay in their place. It is said in the Vedic hymns that because of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sun is shining and the planets are steadily moving. Were it not for him, all the planets would scatter, just dust in air, like dust in air, and perish. Similarly, it is due to the Supreme Personality of Godhead that the moon nourishes all vegetables. Due to the moon's influence, the vegetables become delicious. Without the moonshines, the vegetables can neither grow or taste succulent. Human society is working, living comfortably, enjoying food due to the supply of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, mankind could not survive. The word Rasatmakaha is very significant. Everything becomes palatable by the agency of the Supreme Lord through the influence of the moon.
What is the main point here?
That because of the Lord's energy, that everything is possible, and his strength, because the moon is there, we get all this moon's influence. We get vegetables and food, and all the living beings are enjoying all this comfortably. And without all this, we won't be able to live on this planet. So the Lord is the master behind all this.
So these verses, Krishna is again describing his position and how we are dependent on him. Text 12 to 15 is appreciating Krishna's position. And so this one talks about how the planets are held in space and the influence of the moon again on the taste of vegetables.
It's a very good analogy also what Prabhupada is giving.
Which one?
How the living one floats because the spark is inside. Similarly, these planets are in their orbit just because Krishna has entered into each and every planet.
Right.
It's a very good
Because the piece of dust can't just hang on its own. So that's the difference between us and Krishna. A bird is flying because there is a soul in the body of the bird. The bird is able to fly in space. So a dead bird can't fly. Very dead body also. Very good point. Any other points here?
So we're just thinking, we're doing chapter 3 in the other Bhakti Shastri class, and there in shloka number 14, 15, 16, Krishna describes Evam Pravartitam Chakram. But that's indirectly he's telling people who are not Krishna conscious how they are dependent on me, how they should perform their karma. But here he's just, by this time the assumption is that one becomes a devotee and he's just directly giving references. You should do, this is from me, this is from me. Whereas there it was so indirect.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking maybe it's a wrong comparison, but that's what came to my mind.
No, very good point. He is gradually giving us the realization. Very true. Yeah. Because here is, by the time 9th chapter is done, 10th chapter is done, it's very direct. He's shown his universal form.
Yeah.
So now he's telling more.
Deeper teachings. And with authority actually.
Now he's not hesitating to tell us that. So everything is happening by his energy, by his strength.
One thing in this, my understanding is, because this energy permeates everywhere, and its own energy consumes its own energy itself.
Correct. Krishna doesn't have to struggle to create everything. Whatever energy is given to Brahmajyoti, from that the suns are created, from the suns all planets are energized, and from his body Vishnus have come out. Vishnu entered into each universe. Vishnu enters in each, Paramatma enters in each atom. So all this is happening without his struggling to keep it all going. Because if we build something, we have to maintain it so hard. Even Vishwamitra tried. Right? Vishwamitra, there's a story of Vishwamitra, how because Trishanku wanted to go to the heavenly planet, Indraloka, in the same body. And when he told him it's not possible, first he asked Vasishta. Vasishta said, no, it's not possible. Then he asked Vasishta's sons. They said, so he thought that young people are revolutionary, they like to do something new. I tell them, your old dad couldn't do it, can you do it? They'll think, yeah, dad doesn't do anything, I'll tell you how to do it. Young people may be accepted.
All those feel happy.
Exception in Vijay. But they're not devotee kids, then they'll think, what can dad do? Dad doesn't do anything, come to me, I'll fix it. But they were not like that. They said, hey, you already approached dad. He said, no, you're coming to us, is it? What do you mean? Dad says no, that's it. They're Vaishnava children. They said no. Then they came to Vishwamitra and said, that Vasishta said it can't be done. So even he knows that he doesn't get along with Vasishta. So he deliberately told Vasishta, who said it can't be done? I can do it. So then he sends him by his mystic power. He has mystic power. They can create planets. So he sends him to the Swargaloka in the same body. And he goes there and there's a nice dance going on and Indra is enjoying the music, pop music, and having his drinks. I see the Shudra walking in and says, hey, how come you're here? He says, well, Vishwamitra gave me special visa. I got in here. No, you can't come like that. I have to approve first. This is illegal migrant. Vote. Exactly. This refugee, no visa, go back. So they throw him down. And then Shanku said, hey, Vishwamitra, what did happen? You sent me there, he sent me back. It's an insult to you. Vishwamitra said, no, you are going back there. And then he sends him back up there. And then Indra says, no, you're not going, you're not coming here, you're going back there. And in between, Trishanku is stuck. That's why he gets very upset. He says, neither here nor there. Leave me, I don't want to go to heaven. It's a bad idea. I shouldn't have thought of this. It's not a good plan. Then finally, Vishwamitra realizes this tug of war between him and Indra is not going to last very long. Both are locking horns and they're trying to supersede the other one. I said, don't worry, I'll create a parallel Indraloka for you. That's one of the Ashtasiddhis, 8 siddhis. You can create your own planet. So you go and stay there and nobody will disturb you. So he created another Swarga called Trishanku Swarga. Still there. And then he asks, Trishanku, you go there now. Then Indra thought, Indra will be happy, right? You're not happy. He said, there are 2 Swargas and I'm controlling only one of them. That's not good. I want full control. Then he says, okay, time for compromise. I'll give him visa, let him enter Swargaloka, you please wind up that other duplicate in the loka. I can't handle something I can't control. Because I'm Devaraj, I have to control the whole planet. So I'm not president of half a country, that's not good. They negotiated and they came to a compromise, alright, you can go. So even one may have those powers. Actually what happened was, why I told a story was 2 reasons. One is
to maintain.
Then what happened that Trishanku Swarga started collapsing. He started crashing down to the earth. And then Vishwamitra was in great anxiety. Now what to do? It's going to crash and burn the whole earth planet. Because that Swarga he created, but he couldn't hold it up. Like he has mentioned, the Lord is holding it up. He couldn't hold it up. It was coming crashing down. Meanwhile, Trishanku was wondering, what's happening to me? Now it's too late. You can't choose anymore. You got to tell us. You got to go where we tell you to go. You already told us. You got this crazy idea. Now you got to follow through. So then he is screaming, and the Earth planet is going to be destroyed. So then he approaches different demigods, Brahma, Shiva, they put up their hands, oh, not in our territory, not our zone. Finally goes Lord Vishnu and says, oh please, this is why you created the planet, you maintain it. You didn't ask my permission for creating, you know how to create and you can maintain it. So they said, no, we can't maintain. I can create something but I can't maintain. Vishwamitra admits to the Lord, even if I'm a great yogi, I can create something but I cannot maintain, only you can maintain. So then Lord Vishnu says, don't worry, I'll wind it up for you. It won't collapse. Then he takes care of it. So here it's mentioned that he holds the planets in his fist. So the Lord has that power. We don't have the power to. Even if you do manage to create something small, it's not possible for us to maintain that. It's not possible.
Okay, we see this in our leadership as well these days. So as you heard, IAG CEO just recently he retired.
Yeah.
So we see that recently in all the leaders as well. They might want to create these big companies, and finally there's a restructure happening in the company. And finally, when the employees are losing hope, there's a high turnover within the company. They start leaving the company, and then another leader comes, and then they leave as well, and then another leader comes. So we cannot maintain. It's just Krishna maintenance.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, if a jiva is not qualified to be Brahma, Lord Vishnu can take the role of Brahma. He can double hat. He can maintain and create. Whereas maintenance only Vishnu can do. Not Brahma, not Shiva. Today we are doing Shambhu Tattva in 20 hours. I was just going through my slides. Yes, we did that long time back.
From 7.7,
they can't.
in 7th chapter also Krishna says that everything rests upon
Yes.
Matta
Very good. Very nice. Mata Paratram Nanya.
In 7th chapter also Krishna says Punyagandha. So it refers to the same thing. Why is Krishna saying it there and reiterating again this?
Yeah, now in the context of
different.
Yeah, in the context of Krishna being the Supreme Person, once you understand that, then we can appreciate it at a much deeper level.
But in 7th also
Yeah, it is, but with the knowledge between 7 and 15 chapter, you can appreciate the same thing much better. Just like you read Bhagavad Gita the first time, you appreciate certain level. You read the second time, you have much deeper appreciation. And Prabhupada's purport in one sense, that they let the cat out of the bag. He tells us upfront what's happening. So he doesn't wait till the last chapter. Because he wants us to get the conclusion quickly.
The reason being, you may not read the other chapters going ahead. But if you stop there, at least you got some knowledge.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in one sense, Krishna does repeat in many factors. Because at the level of like, who am I, for example, the 2nd chapter it says one thing, 7th chapter, the 15th chapter it says something like more. So it gets deeper and deeper, even though it looks identical. Like Karma Yoga is in 3rd chapter and 5th chapter also. But there's a difference. Similarly here also. So Krishna is showing how these are his vibhutis. Remember the 7th chapter you read? Rasam Apsu Kaunteya, the taste of water, light of sun and moon. Again 9th chapter, again 10th chapter. Now again 15th chapter is giving some of his vibhutis, his opulences, how he is maintaining us. See, every religion teaches you God is great. But why he is great and what is great about him, that only Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, our scriptures, the Vedic literature, they give that information. Are you going for time? Okay, we can do one more verse.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, please.
I'll try to frame it. I'm not sure if I'll frame it very well. Science tells us about living and non-living, and the way we relate is that, okay, all the living things have a soul, and the soul and the Paramatma, and, sustains them. And now, when we talk about the planet Earth being, it's floating, and all the planets are floating because the Lord is holding those planets up. So that sparked a question in my mind around, all in the nature around us, the rocks and the water and the rivers. And then I started thinking about, like Ganges, the river Ganges, Ganga Ma is... I'm just trying to understand that, how do we understand that Ganga Ma is that
personality.
It's a personality.
She's a person.
She's a person and is sustaining the rivers of the world, or I don't know how to say that. They're all the elements around us have personalities. Is that how
Yes.
we understand?
At least the rivers have personalities. The rivers have personalities. The mountains have personalities.
Bhumi Devi is also personal.
Yeah, Bhumi is a personality. Planets have personalities. Ultimately, everything is personal. See, nothing impersonal exists on its own. It comes from person. Just like the heat of the sun comes from the sun. Sun is a personality. Sun God is there. Sun planet is there. So everything there's a personality behind that.
Sustaining that particular.
Because Bhishma is son of Ganga Devi.
Ganga.
He's a real person. So part of his training was on Earth planet, part of it was in the heavenly planets. He was trained by Brihaspati in the higher planets. That's why he knew all the Vedas and yogas and everything. The Brihaspati trained him. And here on Earth planet also he was trained. So he got his education in two places. Just like Mukund, they studied in India also, he studied here also. Did Mukund study in India?
Mukund didn't, but yeah, I get your point.
So Bhishma was trained and educated in two planets. Not two cities, so not two countries, but two planets. Different dimension. So like that, everything is a personality, ultimately. Okay.
Thank you.
Somebody you read text 14.
Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritah Pranapana Samayukta Pachmayannam Chaturvidham. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest 4 kinds of foodstuff.
Please. Can you read the purport?
According to the Ayurvedic Shastra, we understand that there is fire in the stomach which digests all food sent there. When the fire is not blazing, there is no hunger, and when the fire is in order, we become hungry. Sometimes, when the fire is not going nicely, treatment is required. In any case, this fire is representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedic mantras, Brihad Arankaya Upanishad, also confirm that the Supreme Lord, or Brahman, is situated in the form of fire within the stomach and is digesting all kinds of foodstuff. I am Agnir Vaishvanaro Yam Antaha Purushe Yenedam Anam Pachite. Therefore, since he is helping the digestion of all kinds of foodstuff, the living entity is not independent in the eating process. Unless the Supreme Lord helps him in digestion, there is no possibility of eating. He thus produces and digests foodstuff, and by his grace we are enjoying life. In the Vedanta Sutra, this is also confirmed. Sadhadhyo Nata Pratishthanascha. The Lord is situated within sound and within the body, within the air, and even within the stomach as a digestive force. There are 4 kinds of foodstuffs. Some are swallowed, some are chewed, some are licked up, and some are sucked. And he is the digestive force of all of them.
Very good. What's the main point here?
Well, Krishna is the digestive force. And the fire which is in the body is representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Very good.
So when you have a stomach upset, why do you take medicine? Why can't we just pray to Krishna? Right? Please
If you have faith to that extent, you can. If you depend on Krishna fully, yes. But since we are not on that level, we try to do what we can from our side, but still depend on Krishna, not depend on the medicine.
So, to be considered this like if you have a stomach upset, that means we are trying to correct Krishna by giving the medicine there. No?
So, he has given the medicines also.
Okay, yeah.
The Ayurveda comes from him. The Ayurveda
comes from him only anyway. The knowledge comes from him, the herbs come from him, the food comes from him. The ability to digest the food also comes from him. So it just shows how much we are dependent on Krishna.
Yeah.
We are independent.
And so Vayu, Pitta and all those also will come from
balance.
So the main reason why the stomach upset or whatever the problem happens is because we are not following rules laid down by Krishna properly.
Not sleeping properly, not eating properly.
We read that in when we did 14th chapter, how if your life is regulated, then all these problems don't occur.
Prabhu, I was trying to link this shloka towards the four regulative principle where we say that we are not supposed to eat the meat because when I was kid we used to sing the prayers before any food stuff to be eaten. It says Vadanika Valagita. Vadani means when we are eating the food stuff. Namagya Shri Hariche. Sahaja Smarana Hote Namagita. And then it says Jitva Annaya Purna. It says Udara Bhanana Hai Jadije Yajna Karma. That means you are actually putting ahuti into a yajna. Like that. So it's a fire in your stomach where you are actually putting the ahuti into yajna. You are actually offering it to the Lord, which is in your belly as a fire. So that is another reason that you cannot offer meat in yajna.
Actually, Udara Bhana no is Charni Yajna Karma. So Udara Bhana is not nothing else but it's a Yajna Karma.
It is not just Udara Bharana means it's like I'm not filling my belly, but I'm actually doing the yajna as well. So if you're putting ahuti to fire.
Good analogy.
I was just trying to link these two.
That's very good understanding.
But doesn't Prabhupada say that even a simple exercise like simple thing like eating prasadam is a yajna, but that yajna is different. It is not like it is offering to Lord and then eating. Anything that is offered to Lord becomes a yajna. So can this be also the context?
We are eating only food, prasadam only, so remnants of the food.
That's right. I mean, at the end of the day, the digestion of the food is there so that we get energy, and energy is used to serve Krishna. So anyway, look at for a devotee, everything is offered to Krishna. It's offerable rather. So the digestion also helps us to digest the food, assimilate the food, so we can have energy. And when energy is there, we can use that energy to serve Krishna. And also of all the systems, digestion is a key thing. If the digestion is not working properly, then heart will suffer, lungs will suffer, kidneys will suffer, all the organs of the body will suffer. Even diabetes, they say, is due to indigestion. Heart disease due to indigestion. Any ailment we have pretty much can be linked to digestion. That's why Krishna is saying on the fire of digestion. He didn't say I am the lungs or on the heart or a kidney or he straight went to digestion. So digestive system is the most important system. And that is based on being regular, being regulated, eating sattvic food, timely rest. Because if you don't sleep enough, the body doesn't digest enough food, it creates toxins in the body. So they're all interlinked.
Note of instructions, the very first it says Atyahara.
That's right.
Atyahara second. Yeah. So as in the first.
Atyahara only means
No, as in first instruction. There are 6 of them. First instruction is Atyahara.
Second verse. Yes, Pantaji?
So I have heard in that when they do the yajna, they say pranaya swaha, panaya swaha. What's the meaning of that?
There are different life airs in the body. Yeah, that's right. It's the offering to the different life airs in the body. The 5 different kinds of life airs in the body, life airs, prana. And the spirit soul is there because of this life airs. They keep the life going in the body.
For that they offer the
Oblations offered to that prana shakti, to that prana. Annaprashna we do that, we mention all the Mahaprasad is offered to the baby to purify all these life airs, prana shaktis. So all the systems, the system is most important.
Thanks.
No problem. Who else? Janatpur, did you have a hand up?
No, I
Anybody else? So you can see that in all respects they are depend on the Lord. And eating is only good as long as you can digest it. And proper comments here are 4 kinds of foods. Some are swallowed, some are chewed, some are licked, and some are sucked. And here the digestive force for all of them. All kinds of food. Chaturvida, Chaturvida Shri Bhagavad Prasad Swadhana Tripta Hari Bhakti. What does that mean then?
Something about the spiritual master honoring, liking
Spiritual
to honor
master
full
is
attention.
very happy when he sees the disciples honoring 4 kinds of foodstuffs which have been offered to the Lord. Take prasad. Chaturvida Shri Bhagavad Prasad. Swadhana Tripta, relishing the taste of Swad. Anna Tripta. Tripti means to be satisfied. Swad means tasting. Hari Bhakta Sangha, in the association of devotees. Taking prasad together. One day Guru Shri Sharanarayana. That spiritual master is very pleased to see that devotees are taking prasad, relishing prasad. We have time for 15:15, that's a big verse. We will do that next time. 15:15 is a big verse. Big purport. Also key verse. So I dedicate it for next time.
Just on this one,
Yeah.
there's no explanation on the air of life, outgoing and incoming. Could you just explain that?
6 chapters you mentioned. 6 chapters you mentioned. They call it Prana Shakti. Prana means life air. Our spirit soul is suspended in these life airs in the body. When these life airs are disturbed, then it creates disease. And if it was really upset, then the soul leaves the body. In pranic healing, they do that. They heal the Prana Shakti. They use Prana Shakti to heal the different chakras in the body. So chakras are energy centers. And they derive energy from Prana Shakti. And then Prana Shakti comes because soul is there. And the soul brings the Prana Shakti. That's how the energy is distributed in the body. The yogis, they know how to control that. This is the Bhishma, they had that power. Bhishma, they had that power. He could leave his body at any time.
Ichamaran.
Yeah, Ichamaran, he had that. In Ramarajya, Lord Rama was the king, everybody had that. All the residents of Ayodhya, they could die when they wanted to.
You mean everyone in that kingdom had complete control over their life there, or it
Yeah.
was just a...
No, both. They could choose when they want to die. That's why there was no premature death. Last time we had a whole discussion about Akalamritya. But now what happened in Townsville, that is unfortunate. Child passed away. So the parent is so devastating to the parent to see that.
But when Dasharath went for hunting, that time he killed the parents of Shravan. Yeah. But wasn't that a premature death of Shravan? Because Dasharath Maharaj thought that it's an evil, and then he killed him.
Yeah, that's right. He died untimely death. It's true.
So there was an exception.
No, it's an untimely death.
Quickly passing by. Wasn't from the town.
It was an untimely death. When children die in the presence of the parent, it's untimely. But in some cases there may be special souls who who have a short life left to become perfectly Krishna conscious, then they go back. That's yet another category. Chitraketu Maharaj's son is like that.
See, Bhishma Maharaj's, Pita Bhishma's brothers, 8 brothers were like that. They were cursed.
7 Ashtavasus out of the 8, 7 were cursed to die.
Yeah.
And he was 8.
And he was 8.
He was 8, yeah.
And he had to take birth and had to live a long life after that. Because he was the one who actually stole the cow. So all others were saved. They said if you can be immersed in the Ganges, you go back to garden straight away. You don't have to take birth again. But the 8th Vasu, one who actually stole the cow, he has to go his full life. So he has to go through full lifespan of a human being. At the end of that, that's not Akal Mrityu, that was a proper death. And we discussed last time, Akal has 2 aspects to it. One is inauspiciousness of the death, and one is the shortening of the life. Because of some sinful activity or some crime has been committed.
But Prabhu, if it's Akala, doesn't that mean that entity was destined to live only that?
Could be also.
So then,
but still it's Akala. Because it's not a proper time. See, Akala, like we discussed last time, is the improper time. Okay, even if it's destined, doesn't matter, it's an improper time.
so improper as in not the
Auspicious time.
auspicious time, okay.
And other one could be shortened lifetime. Either way, it's
I
sometime.
heard your lecture, but I couldn't understand the shortened lifetime, because then how can we say that Krishna has decided everything to...
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. What is action, what is reaction? That's what Krishna says in the 4th chapter, 16th verse. Don't bother. You're not going to get it. He tells us. Because you see, if a man kills an animal, we don't know the animal was human last time and is getting reaction or is creating fresh karma. How will you tell? Can you ever tell? You can never tell. No point in trying to figure it out. Because you're not going to figure it out. Karmic cycle is so vicious, so complex. You don't know where it started, where it's ending. Is this a fresh karma that's being created, or is it a reaction to the past karma? Are we ever going to understand it? No, it's not possible. It's very too complicated. All we can say is that the untimely death means 2 connotations. One is that it's died an inauspicious time. That is Akala. And other is if one's lifespan has been curtailed, either by ourselves misusing, abusing the body, or someone else doing something to it. Killing, murdering, whatever. So in either case, we didn't live the full lifespan we're supposed to live in that body. If I start taking drugs, I might die 20 years earlier than I should. If I start smoking, for example. That is Akala Mrityu.
But a stillborn baby is not a baby who dies in the womb without actually a termination of pregnancy is not Akala.
It could be, because if they have killed babies in the past, that's the Prabhupada says very clearly. If we kill a child, then the mother becomes eligible to become stillborn in the next life. So anyway, my main point here is these things are very complex. What are we going to do anyway? What are we going to do? Okay, let's say it is described untimely. Now what? That's more important. Rather than trying to put it in a square, this square or that square. So anyone who does not live the proper life, full life according to Varnashrama, where one takes Vanaprastha at 50 and one takes sannyas at 60 and then remaining 40 years lives sannyasi life until he passes away. That is balanced life, goes back to Godhead. Anything else is Akala, practically speaking. So that is another definition, another classification, another definition. Classic untimely death is at an inauspicious time, prematurely. Premature death is also inauspicious. So the only proper death is Ichchamaran, where one dies according to one's choice, when one lives the full life and then goes back to Godhead. That's the good death. Any other death is untimely death. Because they end up as human animals, that's also inauspicious death. Similarly, like death, there is also birth at the inauspicious time. How Diti gave birth to demons because she conceived at the wrong time. Duryodhana also. So just like this, death is inauspicious, birth also can be inauspicious. When Duryodhana was born, described that he actually caused the earth to tremble, and there's so many volcanic eruptions and earthquakes, and wolves are howling in the night, and wind was howling, and it was very inauspicious. So great personalities, they could see this is a demon being born. Same with Ravan also. When Ravan passed away, when Ravan was born, there was so much inauspicious sign. Actually, Ravan means one who makes the whole world cry. But Ravan's death, there were flowers being showered. His birth, everyone is crying. His death, everyone is happy. Same with Hiranyakashipu also. His birth was inauspicious, but his death was auspicious.
Is there
A, because he's killed by the Lord. B, because the devotees are happy.
Is there something called the premature birth, not into medical terms, but we say premature death? Is there something like a premature birth examples? Not some baby born in 7 months or 8 months.
There's a post-mature birth, Sukadeva Goswami.
16 years.
I was thinking the same thing.
Short-term pregnancy, I don't know.
I think in Prahlad Maharaj's birth is also like that. Hiranyakashipu went away for so long, and then he was held into his mother's womb for so long. And
the Kauravas are test tube babies, they are born premature. Yeah, Kauravas are premature. They are actually, Vyasdev, he maintains them in the pots of ghee, so they are like test tube babies. So that was premature birth. Because she delivered that lump, and she didn't want that pregnancy. Because she was inauspicious. In fact, when Duryodhana was born, they were advised, Gandhari and Dhritarashtra, abandon this child, he will destroy your dynasty. Whole Kula will be destroyed.
Then isn't abortion considered, it's not good, so even there's a contradiction.
Yeah, no, after birth.
After.
They didn't say terminate the pregnancy. No, they told abandon this child.
Abandon.
Don't take this child and bring him
to an orphanage.
Yeah, put him away somewhere. It's going to destroy your family. But new baby is born, who will want to get the baby? That's why this. So if you think of all these things, better not to have children. That's a big risk factor, isn't it? How much risk you're taking. But we also need Vaishnavas. Yeah. I hope that point is clear. Akal Bhakti. Anyone doesn't go back to God, it is Akal. That's it, in one sense, long and short of it. Of course, you can have so many definitions of that, variations, but really.
That is why we have the Charnamrita.
Karvatya Haranam. Best, take Charnamrita every day. Go and see Radha Gopinath.
But do we say Suryapada or Krishna Pada? Vishnu Pada.
Karvatya, Sarvyadat, Vishnu Pada.
Because when we do Surya Namaskar, we just Suryapada.
Surya is supposed to remove all the diseases in the body. So from the health point of view, bodily concept of life, they would want
Jatare Dhararam, so be because of that.
Yeah, but for devotees it's Vishnu Pada. Because Abhishek is done, that water is not just generated like that. It was Abhishek to the deities, and that water is collected. That is Charana Amrita. Charana means feet. Amrita means nectar. So nectar from the feet of the Lord. Vishnu Pada Udakam. Udakam means water. Pada Udakam. You get the same thing by putting tulsi in the water. Tulsi offered to the Lord, put in water, it becomes Charanamrita. Or you can chant mantra and make it Charanamrita. Gange Chamanicha Godavari Saraswati Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Jalesna Sanidhi. Mantra you can do that. Or chant Hare Krishna. That's why we do Achaman, we purify the water like that. Om Keshwaya Namah. We make the water spiritual. spiritual energy, sound vibration goes into the water. Om Keshwaya Namaha, then it's not material anymore, it's spiritualized. Just like I imagine. That water you drink. So the idea is the mouth is washed and purified by the priest before he starts uttering the mantras, before he starts approaching the Lord. So the first preparatory ceremony is called Bhuta Shuddhi, where when the consciousness is purified, because before one begins deity worship. It's called Bhuta Shuddhi. So that's done by chanting a mantra, by doing achaman, various processes are there. Okay, I think we will have time. Just 1 o'clock. Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Gopal ki Jai.
His Grace Vijay Gopikesh Prabhu ki
Jai.
Bhakti Shastri Mata Ji ki
Jai. Samveda Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai.
Prabhash Prabhu sent a message that those leaders who want to give the class in Sunday feast in temple, please give names. Maybe this will come next week.
So we are having a system of